And now, ladies and gentlemen, the star of our show, direct from the bar,
Pimpy.
What's going on out there, peeps? It's crazy to hear these attacks against Trump. Trump's name's on the list. Man, how many years have I been speaking about this? How many years have I been talking to people, explaining to them, Trump is not on any list? Did Trump have contact with Jeffrey Epstein? Yes. But I played a video showing you that a lawyer came out representing 250 of the victims, stating that Trump was not involved with the victims the way other people were. And you're going to try to tell me since 2016 when Trump ran for office, if they had this information, they wouldn't have used it years ago? Come on, people, don't be so stupid. Trump has not done anything pedophile-wise, not at all. But the truth is going to come out because these people are suckers and they keep falling for Trump's traps. But anyways, let's get involved with some of the other news, shall we?
So Gavin Newsom and his wife actually created an organization just to steal some of the fire aid money. Like, how this man is still governor of California and not behind bars is fucking mind-blowing. So I'm sure most of you have heard about the fire aid controversy, you know, where they had this concert to raise $100 million for the victims of the Palisade fires. And people started asking, hey, where the fuck did all that money go? Because there's not a single person who was a victim of the Palisade fires who's seen a cent of it. And through some investigative journalism, what we found is that they distributed the money in 2 rounds. Now, the first round just went to just a fuckload of NGOs. Like, some of them have nothing whatsoever to do with fire recovery, but they handed out $50 million apparently to all these corporations, and nobody did a fucking thing. But then when we got to round 2, this shit got even murkier. Because when you actually look at the names of who was given money under round 2, you saw this little organization called Cal Volunteers. Now, that organization is no longer listed as a recipient on the website. Funny how once the story broke, they took their name off the website. I mean, that doesn't look guilty at all. But Cal Volunteers is an organization that was recently created by Gavin Newsom and his wife. And they have never done fucking anything before this. This organization was created strictly for the purpose of getting fire aid money. And they've not said what they plan to do with the money they got. They haven't even said how much of the money they received. No, all they did when people noticed that fucking Gavin Newsom's organization was getting money was take down their name and their organization from the website where the fire aid money went. So, like, not only did these fires happen because Gavin Newsom is a shit governor and doesn't know how to manage shit, not only was the response to these fires complete and total dog shit because Gavin Newsom's a horrible governor, but after his failures, he then created an organization just to siphon off money that they raised to take care of the people that he was supposed to take care of. This dude is a top tier fucking criminal.
I read every tweet that Zohran Mamdani has ever posted, and there are 16,000 of them. I've watched and listened to every interview he's ever done, and I found his secret Instagram account that I think he's forgotten about, where his profile picture is this. I've cold called his former classmates, teachers, and co-members of Students for Justice in Palestine. And no, it's not stalking, it's called journalism. And what have I discovered from all this sleuthing? Mamdani is much more radical than his new polished campaign is painting him out to be. Here are some examples in his own words taken from his Twitter. He's a socialist. He wants to defund the police and abolish medical bills. And capitalism is theft. And he once suggested taking apartments from rich people and giving them to the homeless. And of course he believes the government should provide free housing for all. For more receipts on Mamdani's past, read my piece in the Free Press. Please read it. I read 16,000 of his tweets.
I'm sorry. Why don't I just go to the bank to get some cash out and I have like 5 20s with a stamp on it that says Donald Trump lives here? It scared me so damn bad, I had to Google it. Apparently it's a stamp that Trump supporters use and put on money. They've been doing this since 2018. I'm so pissed right now. I don't want this on my money. I'm about to spend the fuck out of these. I don't want that. Like, everything those people do is so deranged. Why are you messing with currency? Isn't that illegal, like, for them to do that? And then why does the bank...
Fuck you! Back up! Get out of the street! Back up! Back up! Back up! Get out of the street! Back up! 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 Go get my shoe, man. You're breaking my... What's your name? What's your name? Don't move! Out! Back up! Back up! Back up, please.
This makes Watergate look like a parking ticket. I mean, they arrested Donald Trump for a fake crime. Fine. Now let's actually arrest Barack Obama for a real one. Attempting to overthrow a duly elected president of the United States.
They were saying that all of these prices have gone up in 2025. That's what the headline read. But when you read the graph, the highest points were during Joe Biden's administration. And so this is the White House's response. You can see they highlighted it in red. When it was the highest, it was under Joe Biden.
Right. So they deleted it off. So obviously,
yeah, the Democrats deleted it.
Yeah, obviously an own goal by the Democratic Party. So, like, for example, they say a lot of dairy prices are down, right? Eggs are down 53%, something ridiculously low. But meat is high. Yeah. So the president's got to focus on that. And guess what the president did yesterday? He got Australia to start buy our beef for the first time. Yeah. So he's constantly moving stuff.
Now, we're going to need a business manager to help us avoid paying taxes.
Taxes?
A tax is a terrible, hairy, liberal monster with big teeth. And the only thing that can stop the terrible tax monster is a Republican. Who wants to be a Republican?
Fox News alert, the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade. Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born, interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the election. A month after Trump beat Hillary, Barack Obama wasn't satisfied with his intelligence reporting and ordered his CIA director to create a new assessment of how Russia interfered with the election. This was a highly unusual move. John Brennan handpicked 5 CIA analysts to write the assessment, and they were siloed. None of them knew what the other was doing. And only one analyst was in charge of drafting this report. There was nothing routine about this, and it was a rush job to publish before Trump was sworn in. Nothing was coordinated with the other intelligence agencies either. Basically, this was home cooking for Barack Obama. There were 4 key elements from the assessment that were repeated over and over again and formed the basis of the Russia hoax and the Robert Mueller witch hunt. 1, that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to win. 2, Putin took action to help Trump win. 3, the Russians had blackmail on Trump. That was the Steele dossier. And 4, that the Russians tried colluding with the Trump campaign. None of any of this was ever true. There was no reliable intelligence to support any of these allegations. Senior CIA officials repeatedly refused to traffic in these allegations. but they were repeatedly overruled by CIA Director Brennan and FBI Director Comey, who insisted that they be pushed, even without verifiable evidence. The Obama administration cherry-picked the intelligence, lied about their sources, misquoted sources, didn't corroborate their claims, suppressed intelligence that ran counter to their narratives, and even used anonymous internet postings. Rank-and-file CIA admitted what they were doing violated their own tradecraft standards. There was a massive pressure campaign that came right from the top. CIA analysts say they received unusual directives from political appointees, the CIA director, and Obama himself. This is how the Russia hoax was born.
Donald Trump knows that the Russians helped him win in 2016.
Putin hated Secretary Clinton so much that the flip side of that coin was he had a clear preference for the person running against the person he hated so much.
It was Russia, in a very systematic way, tried to interfere in the election and to try to advance the prospects of Donald Trump being elected.
This was such a malicious disinformation campaign perpetrated on the American people that at one point, 60% of Democrats believed the Russians hacked our voting machines to help Trump win the White House. What this report actually shows is that the Russians just wanted to create chaos and undermine Americans' faith in democracy. Solid intelligence suggested that Vladimir Putin didn't care who won. He had no preference. But like most people, expected Hillary to win and had a little docket of compromising dirt on her, dirt that he never released. Now, if Putin wanted Trump to win, why didn't Putin drop the dirt?
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
Now, if Clinton was on tranquilizers like the Russians believed, why didn't they leak it to help Trump win?
How credible was the information about Hillary Clinton's health?
All I have seen is what the Intelligence Committee have reported through their investigation. I think the underlying point there is that we understand from intelligence what Russia said that they had. And the important point here is that if they were trying to influence the election, as President Obama and James Clapper and John Brennan, everybody said they were doing in order to support Donald Trump's election, they would have released the most damning of that information.
Obama and his spy chiefs knew that Putin didn't prefer Trump over Hillary, but they cooked the intelligence to make it look like he did. Obama and his intel spies knew that Putin didn't collude with Trump and that he didn't even direct his people to help Trump win. But they put it out there anyway. In a sense, Barack Obama did exactly what Putin wanted, undermined Americans' faith in free and fair elections and caused chaos in our country. Barack Obama, the CIA, and the FBI were the ones doing what our enemy wanted.
Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Even 2 years later, after the election, Barack Obama was still pushing a hoax he knew wasn't true. And he knew it wasn't true because he helped manufacture it.
They're undermining our alliances, cozying up to Russia. What happened to the Republican Party? They're cozying up to the former head of the KGB. Actively blocking legislation that would defend our elections from Russian attack. What happened?
Now, I don't know if it's possible to indict a former president for actions he took while in office. I'm not a lawyer, proudly. But Brennan, Comey, and others may have severe liability. Trey Gowdy says we know for a fact that Brennan committed perjury when he lied to Congress.
Director Brennan, do you know who commissioned the Steele dossier?
I don't.
Do you know if the Bureau ever relied on the Steele dossier as part of any court filings, applications?
I have no awareness.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Because we didn't. It wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done. It was not.
Well, that's a lie. Whatever happens to these guys is not revenge. It's accountability. And it's time for people to pay the price.
Call me crazy, but just hear me out. I really do believe that they chose Barack Obama. Yes, they selected him all the way back in 2008 to become the face of the Democrat Party, because their plan all along was always to try to gradually push America into a race war in the near future. They wanted to try to get individuals to look at things as, oh, you are black, you are white, you are good, you are bad, and making it such that when you criticize a black person, it is viewed as some sort of racist attack. And that was intentional because they wanted to use Barack Obama as the individual to engage in all sorts of treasonous activity, going so far as to even spy on Trump and do so much to try to undermine his presidency before he even was elected the first time around. But they wanted to have the narrative baked in so that individuals out there already viewed things as a binary lens of, oh, black or white, good or bad, so that when inevitably Barack Obama's crimes did come out, any sort of attack on his behaviors, no matter how valid those attacks may be, would be viewed as some sort of racist attacks, and they'd be able to hide behind his skin color and deflect away from what the core of the issue really is. Call me crazy all you want, but that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Nobody knew there'd be a pandemic or an epidemic of this proportion.
There may and likely will come a time in which we have both an airborne disease that is deadly. And in order for us to deal with that effectively, we have to put in place an infrastructure, not just here at home, but globally, that allows us to see it quickly, isolate it quickly, respond to it quickly. So that if and when a new strain of flu, like the Spanish flu, crops up 5 years from now or a decade from now, we've made the investment and we're further along to be able to catch it. It is a smart investment for us to make. It's not just insurance, it is knowing that down the road we're going to continue to have problems like this, particularly in a globalized world.
Zoolander's ready to make communism great again. He's like Bernie on roids. His latest commie endeavor, city-run grocery stores. Not a good idea. It's been done before, and it's never worked. Kansas City has their own communist grocery store, and it's in ruins. The city opened fresh in 2018 and sunk millions of dollars, both public and private, into keeping it afloat, and aisles are empty. Crime skyrocketing and sales plummeting. Tens of millions of dollars were invested into the Kansas commie store, and it's still a net negative. Last year, Sunfresh lost nearly $900,000, and it only sees a few thousand shoppers a week. Democrats heard that and are now demanding an additional $1.2 million to fund the store. It's getting so bad, it looks like a ghost town.
The store has been getting tens of millions of dollars since 2018. Now look at this. We got inside, the store let us in. You will see something so jarring. It basically looks like the entire store is empty. There was barely anything in there, from meat to dry goods to produce.
Come on. This neighborhood, Kansas City, is in shambles. No one wants to shop at the commie store because there's no food. And if they do go, they might get shanked. But the mayor doesn't care. He's telling people, suck it up or shop somewhere else.
While I hear and understand the crime issues and concerns, there are stores, there's a grocery store right down the street, largely in the same kind of area, some of the same criminal numbers and statistics, that still is doing pretty darn well.
The Kansas City commie store has become a black hole of taxpayer dollars. No one knows where the money's going, and people want answers.
I walk in there, I'm pretty sure you walked in there. There's no meat, there's no vegetables, there's no nothing. Are you going to take care of the community that's surrounded around you? If not, sell the store to someone that can be more responsible.
It's obvious these stores are bad for business and the community, but Zoolander likes what he sees, and he's ready to franchise it.
Just own up to it. Why doesn't he just do that?
Own up to what? What the Wall Street Journal calls unverified hearsay? Why should he go out there and have to own up to anything? He's not ever been credibly accused. The Washington Post ran a fact check on this the other day and said, we're confident there's nothing about the president. If there were, we would know about it. Unverified hearsay is what he's dealing with, and you want him to go out and fight this ghost? It's ridiculous. Democrats are alleging that he is somehow part of Epstein's wrongdoing. It's been happening all day long. This is the whole point of this fiasco, is to try to create a narrative and what he calls correctly a hoax, that he is somehow part of it. It's exactly what they did about Russia, and they're doing it on Epstein.
If he on the younger side, girls on the younger side.
And that comment and what you just said are two different things. So
okay,
if you're alleging
my
criminality, go ahead. Say it directly.
No,
say it so we can all hear it.
I am asking you a question that you are pivoting on. The question I am asking you is, if Donald Trump knew that Epstein was having sex and preying on underage girls, is that wrongdoing?
Well, I think if anyone would have known that, but I don't know that he knew that because
I don't know that either.
He disowned it. But you're raising it. If I knew that you ran over someone out on the street, would that be criminal wrongdoing? You're raising it because you don't know if it's true, but you're saying it out loud because you're trying to create your
I'm saying it out loud because I think that's what a lot of people are wondering, because he does. The man does protest.
This is what we say when Anna's wondering.
All right, let me Democrats have been trying to take down Trump with documents that they never used to take down Trump.
I'm sorry, they crippled almost his entire first term by convincing one half of the country that Russia stole the 2016 election. And Democrats still have it on. Tonight, Fox News did a poll.
Speaking of accurate sources.
Are you calling into question the Fox News polling? Because it's generally considered to be very good. So here's the deal. They have his job approval. He's a little underwater. Of all the people who said they approve or disapprove of Donald Trump, only 1% mentioned Epstein as the reason. And the whole 1% was either Democrats or independents. This fantasy that Republicans or MAGA, nobody in the Republican Party is worried about this, and most of America is not worried about it.
When I first announced my run for Congress, I had this random white woman, liberal, walk up to me and ask, well, what about you isn't Democrat? To which I responded, well, besides my skin color, what about me is Democrat? And it was at that very moment that she realized that God gave her enough common sense to ask me about my values. Now, don't get me wrong, I was raised to vote Democrat down the ballot, so when I first started, I would say things like, I'm a Republican, but I'm not a conservative. But now I know all too well I am a full-fledged, hardcore conservative, and I'm proud of it. I mean, my favorite saying is I was born black, not Democrat. But in all seriousness, whenever I began to think for myself politically, the choice was easy. I mean, why would I want to belong to a party whose mission is to infringe on the Second Amendment, as if a criminal would ever participate in something like a mandatory buyback? Why would I want to belong to and endorse a godless party? Because there is no such thing, and I mean no such thing, as a trans child. We have confused children and sick, enabling adults. Why would I want to belong to a party that takes pride in shedding innocent blood? Number one, as if that's not what God hates. Number two, as if there's not a black market for baby organs. And number three, as if abortion clinics didn't start in the hood. Because if you think Trump is bad, you should research exactly who Margaret Sanger was. But speaking of the black community, why would I want to belong to a party who's responsible for the foundation of the Triple K? But it's not just that. Supposedly in the 1900s, the party switched, right? But what never changed, what I noticed never changed, is Democrats' love for immigration and how they have always prioritized that over the black community. I mean, imagine every single Democrat leader helping you joke about what a black job is in 2024, exposing your ignorance on 1924 and how imperative the Immigration Act of that year was, how it was all reversed in 1965 with the Hart-Celler Act, how Congress refuses the advice of the Rockefeller Commission and the Hesburgh Commission, and how to this day they refuse to adopt the Barbara Jordan Blueprint, validating every single thing that Dr. Claude Anderson spoke of generally, but specifically what Mrs. King spoke of in 1991 with her letter to Congress. Now look, I'm not saying that the Republican Party is perfect. No, nobody's perfect. What I'm saying is I saw with Malcolm X when he said that the liberals were the worst thing that could ever happen to the Western Hemisphere, but y'all ignore that, just like how y'all ignore LBJ saying, and I quote, I'm going to have Negroes voting Democrat for the next 200 years, and by God, 60 years later, I see no sign of recourse, but rest assured your vote is your voice, even if it is a whisper.
We will oppose
illegal migration. We will stop the anti-American change in Europe.
Będziemy opierać się nielegalnej imigracji i będziemy opierać się antyamerykańskiej polityce w Europie.
Donald Trump! 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 Donald Trump is not just a person, he is a symbol of freedom that will cover all the free world.
To nie jest tylko osoba, to nie jest tylko człowiek, to jest także symbol walki o wolność.
Here today, Sunday, in Poland and Sunday in Romania, we have presidential elections.
Tą niedzielę mamy wybory i w Polsce, i w Rumunii, wybory prezydenckie.
And the most powerful man in the free world, Donald Trump, is supporting Karol Nawrocki.
I najpotężniejszy człowiek na świecie, Donald Trump, wspiera Karola Nawrockiego.
Karol, 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 Karol.
All right, look, so we're going to handle this with compassion because this young woman was very obviously lied to and sadly believed every lie she was told.
Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Tania Akers. Sorry, I'm not gonna cry. So during this school year when I was in high school, we obviously had all the dates and celebrations for kids going to college or kids going into trades, and I selected Howard as my school. But after, the passing of the Big Beautiful Bill, I can no longer afford schooling there, even though it was still my dream to go.
So first of all, like I said, let's be compassionate about this. This is a high school student. She very obviously is listening to the adults around her, and they are giving her god-awful information because there is nothing in the Big Beautiful Bill that would prevent her from being able to afford to go to Howard University. There's nothing in the Big Beautiful Bill that would have prevented her from going to any university of her choice. And anybody who told her there was is a fucking liar. Because right off the bat, there's nothing in the Big Beautiful Bill regarding education that has even gone into effect. Now, what it will do in the future is eliminate the Grad Plus program, which simply caps graduate student borrowing at $20,500 per year and $200,000 for their lifetime, which doesn't affect her. She is a high school student going into an undergraduate program. And when it comes to students going for professional degrees, which I hope she's going for, it actually raises her borrowing limits all the way up to $50,000 per year. Also, if you're trying to blame the Big Beautiful Bill for Howard raising their tuition, which, by the way, they did this year 7.5%, I'd just like to point out that that is a normal raise in tuition for that college. They regularly do that almost every year. So nothing changed because of the Big Beautiful Bill. And if she was worried about the endowments for the school, well, they would only be taken away if they allowed discrimination against students, which I'm going to hope they don't. And other than instituting, actual measurable test standards for the students, making sure that the university is actually providing an education that enables these students to get a job in the future, there is nothing in the Big Beautiful Bill that would prevent this little girl from going to college. There is nothing in there that would prevent her from going to this college. And I think the adults around her should be embarrassed for feeding her these bullshit lies, because there is nothing in the Big Beautiful Bill that stops this girl from being able to go to the college of her choice. No, there's just adults around her who want to make her upset and are too stupid to learn the process themselves so they could educate this young girl. Like, for fuck's sake, 99% of this shit hasn't even gone into effect yet.
Let me tell y'all something. Y'all need to come back and apologize to every conservative that y'all disrespected this year and last year. Because a lot of us left the Democratic Party and we were disrespected, called all kinds of names. And it took for y'all Black Messiah to fall for y'all to understand that it was a scam all along. And I was so happy to find out he said what he said. Because y'all got to see who he really is. He was a man who never wanted the black family. He came for division. He came to push his rainbow rights. And he didn't care nothing about black people. The only thing he gave y'all was non-affordable health insurance and the SNAP phone. That's what he did for black people. So I'm so glad to see y'all black messiah has fallen, and I hope and I pray that the Democratic Party continue to make themselves look like circus animals.
What we want, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets, wolves bursting in the air. Yeah, poo-poo, we had poo-poo tonight.
This is something that every high school coach should show their football team. This is what every college team should show their players. How to do an open field tackle. Now watch this. Oh yeah, lining up. Whoa, what a takedown. Look at that takedown. Look at this, should be in every training video. Let's watch it again. Sees the bad guy coming. Lines up, and boom. That's how you do an open field tackle. Now this is what should happen to every porch pirate.
Up to no good as usual. Pookie ready to steal this package, thinking nobody's watching him, but guess what? There's eyes everywhere nowadays. You've got to be an idiot to think you're going to steal a package. You got to be one desperate son of a bitch. But Pookie needs his crack. He needs his drugs, but not today, because the owner meets up with him and he's like, go ahead. Put that shit back where you found it, because you're going to get disciplined, something your parents should have done years ago. Now receiving free dental care, rearranging his teeth. Yep, you guessed it. Now he has summer teeth. Some are there, some are gone, but some are gone to begin with. Let's be honest. Owner is so pissed because he selected next day aired by 10:30 a.m. He's like, you know how long I've been waiting for this Temu package? Here, have another Hot Pocket Knuckle sandwich, you loser.
Anyways, that's it for now. Let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm out.